I make banana bread pretty much every week for my family because we always have a few bananas that didn't get eaten. And a lot of times I'll give a loaf away, and I don't want to brag, but everybody is always saying, how did you make this banana bread? And the joke is on them because it's the most simple recipe ever. It's been passed down in my family from since I can remember. This is all the banana bread I've eaten, and it's only 6 ingredients, which I like because I'm not a very sophisticated baker, but I am able to make this banana bread. So I am going to show you my recipe today. First, you start out with a 1/2 cup butter. I always like to use unsalted butter when I bake. So I'm just gonna put in this softened butter. And then you use 1 cup sugar. I'm just gonna pour this in. Okay. Just 1 cup sugar and 1 egg. I stir those ingredients around until they are well blended. And my butter and my bananas are always soft enough where I don't need to actually use even a mixer. I can just use my spatula. So I stir that until it's well blended. Then I add my bananas, and I usually add about 3 ripe bananas to this batch. And this is gonna make about 2 loaves of banana bread, or if you like a big loaf of banana bread, 1 really hefty loaf. But we always like to share a little bit around with friends and family. So make 2. All right. What I also love about this is since there's only 6 ingredients and I make this almost every week, I have the recipe memorized. So it's really easy for me to make. All right, then once I've got my bananas in there, I use a potato masher to mash them up. And this is the way we've always done it. It's the way my mom did it and the way my grandma did it. I remember my mom used to work full-time. She was probably one of the only moms that did work full-time when I was growing up. And she, though, had Mondays off. And I remember coming home from school on Mondays, and I could always tell when she made banana bread. Okay, so now we've got that mixed up to that consistency. And then we just add our flour and our baking soda. So it's 2 cups flour. And notice how I don't have to mix dry ingredients and wet ingredients. I just mix it all together. So it's 1 bowl easy. And put that in. And then 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We're gonna mix that up. I have to be careful because I typically splatter flour everywhere. I'm not a neat baker. All right, so I'm gonna get that mixed up. And you can see this is really fast. Oh, this is perfect. You can add nuts to this. I never do. Sometimes I do when it's just about done baking, add some chocolate chips to the top, but I never mix them all the way in because then the inside gets too gooey and it doesn't bake up quite right. So, there it is, perfect consistency. Looks just right. And then I either can use oil and flour on my pan or just spray it with a non-stick baking spray. Pour it in. And smooth it out. And it's ready for the oven. Now the trick to my banana bread is this original recipe card that I received from my grandmother, which you can see is well loved, has the baking instructions at 250 to 300. This is lower than a lot of people bake their banana bread or any quick breads at. So actually I do mine right around 300 and nice and slow. It typically bakes for about an hour, and that is how the top stays moist and doesn't get crusty. I have my oven preheating, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick this in. My bread's been baking a little bit over an hour and it's ready to take out. When I put this in, I set my timer for 50 minutes, 50, and then I check it at that point to see how it looks, and then check it every 5 minutes or so. The trick is to just watch for a nice golden brown top. You can't check to see if it's done with a toothpick because the inside is going to be moist, so if you have a clean toothpick when you pull it out, in the end your bread is going to be too dry. So it's sort of a thing that needs to be babysat a little bit at the end, but it's well worth it. Who's hungry for some banana bread? For this recipe, visit thehappyhouse.com.